Good afternoon, students. So now we'll start about physical property of alkali metal. See, student, in the last class we studied about general properties of S block element. Okay, general properties of S block element. That is also for first group element. That is about electronic configuration. Then about hydration enthalpy. So then, yeah, about all this ionization enthalpy we studied, isn't it? Those are general property of alkali metal. So now we will specify with the physical property and the chemical property. See, so this whole physical property and chemical property depends over that itself, that on the general characteristic or general properties of your first group element. So that's why first we have to study all those things. After that we study physical and chemical property separately. Here, I'll consider physical property of alkali metal. See, students, so this is very important. You must know about the physical property, how the metal or how the alkali metal appears, what are the physical concept, what are the physical properties of this alkali metal. See, whenever we consider physical property, then you must know about these three things. One is about appearance, second one is about melting point and boiling point, and third one mainly is about which one? So that is about solubility. Clear? In organic chemistry also, if we have to study about physical property, in that case we try to study about these three concepts. Very important. That is appearance, and second one is melting point and boiling point, and third one is nothing but what? Solubility, isn't it? Here, for alkali metal, we consider first one as the appearance. Any idea, student, how does alkali metals look like? See, because we know about sodium, isn't it? Those are highly reactive. That's why we consider or we kept it in a kerosene oil, isn't it? Any idea about? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Then it has a white color. Then any idea how those will be soft metal or hard metal, or else what will be the hardness? Any idea? Soft metal, isn't it? Because we know, we studied about, isn't it? Sodium can be, huh? Yeah, it can be splitted, or it can be from a small component by only taking a knife. Yeah. See, first one is very good. All those answers were right. So those are silvery white, silvery white, somewhat silver color, silvery white, soft. So those are soft and light metal. So these are soft and light metal. So this is first appearance. So that is, it is silvery white. So this is very important. Sometime it look like yellow because of oxidation. If there is a oxide layer outside the sodium, in that case, it may appear in a yellow color. But it is a silver white or silver white color, and it is a soft and lightest metal. Clear? Second is very important regarding melting point and boiling point. See, student, we know it is a soft metal, isn't it? We know it as a soft metal. In that case, what about melting point and boiling point? It needs high temperature or low temperature. It has a, yes, it has a low melting point and boiling point. It has a low melting and boiling point. For reason for this one is very important. For softness and for low melting and boiling point, it is very important. It is due to, or it is because of, it is because of weak metallic bond. This is very important. See, weak metallic bond. Why we consider it as a metallic bond? Because the metal is forming bond, isn't it? So that's why we consider weak metallic bond due to presence of only one valence electron, only one valence electron. That is very important. So the bond or the metallic bond is formed by only one valence electron. So that's why that is a weak metallic bond, and for that reason it needs low melting point or low boiling. It has a low melting point and low boil. Is it clear? Second thing, why it has a low melting point and boiling point? Because of weak metallic bond. But why there is a weak metallic bond? Because there is only one valence electron. Third point is very important point, C student, third point is very, very important, so that it will impart a color. It will impart a color when it is introduced, when it is, I'll write here, when it is introduced, and it is introduced on oxidizing flame. Oxidizing flame. So this is very important, students. So here, see, first read this carefully. It impart a color when it is introduced on oxidizing flame. See, student, here I'll consider on flame. Here I'll consider flame, Bunsen burner flame. We consider it as a Bunsen burner flame. See, so this is nothing but Bunsen burner, just like your LPG gas. Okay. Bunsen burner with a regulator, and this is nothing but your flame. This is nothing but flame. See, here we'll introduce salt and dilute HCl. The mixture of salt and dilute HCl is mixed, or it will make a paste over the watch glass. Then we have to introduce with a watch glass. See, this is a glass rod and this watch glass, just imagine. And here there will be mixture or paste of salt and dilute HCl. Here we have to take this and you have to place over this flame. So in that case, it will impart a color. That means it will give a different color in a fraction of second. When you introduce, it suddenly gives a color. So reason for this one is, listen student, in all alkali metal, we know there is one valence electron, isn't it? In all the cases, it has only one valence electron. So now just imagine, I'll consider ground state of this electron. I'll consider ground state of this electron, very important. So now listen, this electron is present in a ground state. This electron is present in a ground state. Whenever it is introduced over the oxidizing flame, it gives a color to flame. That means this region of the flame, see, I'll consider this one. See, this region of the flame will appear as a color for a fraction of second. Okay, for the fraction of second. Here, see, in this case, electrons were in a ground state, isn't it? Whenever it is introduced over a flame, it will absorb some amount of energy. Absorb energy or absorb radiation. Absorb radiation from visible region. So this is very important, student, visible region. See, it will absorb energy from the visible region. See, it is ground state. I'll write here. It is ground state. So whenever it absorbs energy, what will happen? Its energy increases, isn't it, student? So whenever a normal atom or electron, which is in a stable state, when gains electron, which absorbs electron, what will happen? Its energy increases, isn't it? Whenever its energy increases, it will somewhat jump to higher energy level, isn't it? Because we know ground state is at highly stable state with low energy. When you are supplying energy, when you are giving energy, what will happen? It will jump from ground state to excited state. It will jump from lower level to higher energy level. Clear? So that is known as excited state. See, we use excited state, that is at a higher energy level. So that is excited state. So see, electron will absorb energy and it will jump to higher energy level. See, it will jump to higher energy level. But remember one thing, student, the higher energy state is less stable. Clear? As energy increases, stability decreases. See, just remember this one. As energy increases, stability decreases. It inversely proportional over stability. Clear? So energy decreases means stability increases. Stability increases means energy decreases. So now in this case, energy is increased. That means it is less stable. So less stable. So that means it will come back to its original position. See, it will come back to its original position. See, it will return to its ground state, but while returning, it will gain or emit some amount of radiation. It will emit some radiation. Clear? So that will be your color. That will be a flame color. Is it clear, student? About this in a detail we'll study in our next classes. Okay. Just remember this. So, and the color of that flame is due to this one, absorbed radiation. Absorbed radiation. See, imagine one thing. See, initially it was at a lower excited state, lower state, lower, that is ground state, lower energy level. So whenever you supply energy to that electron, electron will jump from lower level to higher level, isn't it? So that higher level is unstable. So that's why it will return to ground state. It will return to ground state. While returning, it will emit some amount of energy. It will emit some amount of energy in the form of radiation. And that will be your color for the flame. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? Is it clear? See, now the question, what are the colors? For lithium, it is crimson red. See, student, so this crimson red. For sodium, it is yellow. For sodium, it is yellow. For potassium, it is violet. And for rubidium, it is red violet. And last one for cesium, it is blue. It is blue. See, now the question arises, why these colors were changed? Isn't it? Because alkali metals are a first group element. In that case, we must get all the color as the same color. But here the thing is, there are different colors. Because reason for this one is, so different element can absorb different frequencies or different radiation from a visible radiation. Clear? So visible radiation has a 400 nanometer to 750 nanometer, isn't it? From that, it may gain any one radiation or any radiation. So that's why for lithium, this was the color. For sodium, this was the color. For potassium and for lead and for cesium. Cesium is a blue color. Blue color it is. It is blue color. Is it clear? Blue it is. Blue. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? Is it clear about third property? Is it clear? Is it clear? If it is clear, I'll move for next one. That is nothing but chemical property. Is it clear, student? So first one is it has a silvery white and soft and light metal. Next, melting point and boiling point is low because of weak metallic bond. This is very important. Why weak metallic bond? Due to presence of only one valence electron. So next one, it impart a color when it is introduced on oxidizing film. This is very important. So whenever electron is present in a lower excited state, it will absorb some amount of energy and it will move to higher energy level. While returning back, it will emit some amount of energy in the form of radiation, and that will be your color. So next important one. So we studied about physical properties, isn't it? So now we have to study about chemical properties. See, write down what are the chemical properties. See, chemical properties of alkali metal. Don't write in the form of Am, okay? It is alkali metal. See, we know first group elements are highly reactive. We know first group elements are highly reactive because it readily reacts with oxides and hydroxide. It will burn, isn't it? So that's why it is much reactive. It is most reactive element in a periodic table, isn't it? Sodium, if you remove that from kerosene oil, what will happen? It will start to explode. Clear? So the reactivity is due to presence of, one is due to large size, due to first one is large size of metal ion, due to large size of metal ion. Second one for the reactivity, reason for reactivity. Second reason is it has low ionization enthalpy. It has a low ionization enthalpy, isn't it? That means we can easily remove electron. So that is the main reason. So that's why it is highly reactive. It has a low ionization enthalpy. Third one, it has a only one valence electron. It has only one valence electron in outermost shell. So that's why removal of electron is very easier. Isn't it, student? Isn't it? So next one. So due to this reason, reactivity is increases. Due to this reason, reactivity is increases. And the reactivity of alkali metal increases or decreases down the group, student? Reactivity of alkali metal increases or decreases down the group? Just tell me. Down the group, it will increases or decreases? Down the group, it will increases. Reactivity increases or decreases because it depends on large size, isn't it? Again, it depends on low ionization enthalpy. So down the group size also increases, ionization enthalpy also decreases. So that's why reactivity of alkali metal increases down the group. Yes, yes. Why? Why? Because ionization enthalpy decreases and size increases Is this clear? So chemical property of alkali metal. Before studying about alkali metal chemical property, we have to study or we have to know about its reactivity. So when we compare alkali metal with other element of a periodic table, so those are more reactive due to presence of large size, and second one low ionization enthalpy, and there is only one valence electron. So that's why removal of electron is very easier. So that's why the reactivity increases down the group, So now we'll study one by one how this chemical property will vary. See, first one, I'll consider reactivity towards water. Reactivity towards water. Sorry, towards dry air or dry oxygen. I'll consider it as dry oxygen. See, student, I consider dry oxygen in this case. I consider dry oxygen because, see, whenever sodium reacts with small traces amount of moisture, it will readily convert into hydroxide, isn't it? In a small amount of or small traces of water, if it is present, in that case, it readily undergo formation of metal hydroxide. See, metal hydroxide, isn't it? It is a moisture, isn't it? It is a water, moisture. So whenever it reacts with metal, it forms a metal hydroxide. To stop that reaction, that means if it reacts to oxygen, it will form a metal oxide, isn't it? It will form metal oxide. And we have to stop this reaction till metal oxide itself. So that's why I consider dry air. Clear? So whenever, see student, whenever it reacts, whenever metal reacts with oxygen, it gives a metal oxide, isn't it? We know metal oxide. And that metal oxides are of three types. See student, this is very important. Metal oxides were three types. First one is simple oxide. Second one is peroxide. Second one is peroxide. And the third one is superoxide. See, these are very important. So oxides were of three types: oxide, simple oxide, peroxide, and superoxide. So now listen, student. Now listen. So stability of peroxide and superoxide. See, this is peroxide and superoxide. Stability increases down the group because of increase in, about this I'll explain later, okay? See, first one, I'll write a composition. See, whenever first element, that is nothing but lithium, reacts with oxygen, it gives, what will be the product, student? Lithium reacts with oxygen, it gives a simple oxide. But it will never form peroxide and superoxide. What will be the composition of lithium oxide? What will be the composition of lithium oxide? Any idea, student? What is the composition of lithium oxide? Just tell me. Because you must know oxygen common oxidation state is -2. Common oxidation state of oxygen is -2, and for lithium it is +1. Remember one thing, student, oxidation state of first group element is +1, oxidation state of second group element is +2. Okay. So now just tell me, what will be the composition? What will be the composition? Student, just reply. See, lithium at +1 oxidation state, oxygen at -2. Namita, just check your composition. Lithium at +1 oxidation state, oxygen at -2 oxidation state. What will be the, yes, right answer. That will be lithium oxide, Li2O, Li2O. So these are oxide, simple oxide it is. Okay, simple oxide. See, lithium oxide only forms simple oxide, and traces amount of lithium can form peroxide. So remember one thing, because we already explained stability of these two groups, peroxide and superoxide, increases down the group, isn't it? So that's why remember, lithium oxide will never form superoxide, first condition. Second one, lithium oxide or lithium can form a trace a small amount. In a small amount, it can produce a peroxide. Okay, so next one I'll consider second element, that is after lithium there will be sodium. Sodium can form simple oxide, it can form simple oxide, and also it can form peroxide. It can form peroxide. What will be the composition of peroxide, student? You know about hydrogen peroxide? Do you know about hydrogen peroxide? What is the composition of hydrogen peroxide? That is water, isn't it? What is the composition of hydrogen peroxide? Any idea, student? Hydrogen peroxide? H2? H2? Yes, H2O2. Hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. So I'll just remove this, okay? Just remember this point. I'll just remove this, okay. Okay. But what is hydrogen peroxide? H2O2, okay? H2O2 is a composition of hydrogen peroxide. See, I'll give one hint, or I'll teach you how to find the oxidation state of oxygen. Student, just remember, oxidation state of first group element is always 1. Always 1. Oxidation state of second group element is always +2. Always +2. Clear? So then, oxidation state of 17th group, that is the thing, but halogen group is always -1. You have to remember these points, okay? So this is redox reaction. You will study in a redox reaction, okay? Just I'll give a hint. See, in this case, H2O2 is present, and we don't know about oxygen oxidation state because its common oxidation state is -2. But we don't know in this case, hydrogen peroxide, isn't it? So for that, I'll just find, see, H2O2 it is. We don't know about this one, so that's why I'll write it as X. And we know about hydrogen, it is +1. So you have to find the oxidation state of X. Student, carefully listen. Now, 2 molecules of hydrogen is present, isn't it? 2 molecules of hydrogen into its oxidation state. What is the oxidation state of hydrogen? +1. Clear? Plus, how many molecules of oxygen is present? 2. Isn't it? What is the oxidation state of oxygen in this case? We don't know. That's why I'll consider it as X. Equals to. Student, is it neutral compound or it is a ionic compound? This one is neutral compound or ionic compound? Just tell me, is it neutral or ionic compound? If charge is present over that atom or ion or compound, in that case it is charged ion. Now the question, H2O2 is a neutral or charged one? See, again I'll consider another example, CO3 -2. It is also compound. And H2O, it is also compound. H2O2, it is also compound. So now tell me, which one is neutral in this case, which one is ionic in this case? So this one is charged, isn't it? That is ionic. What about water and H2O, H2O2? Is it neutral or ionic? Neutral or ionic? So there is no charge over that. There is no charge over that. Student, just reply. If in case I'll consider ammonia, if in case I'll consider ammonia, it will be plus charge. It is also positive or negative charged. It is, yes, that is neutral. If there is a neutral, you have to consider zero. Okay, if it is charged, for example, this one, we have to consider charge over that ion. If it is like this, we have to consider charge over that ion. If in case we have to consider this one, it will be plus 1. If in case this one, it will be minus 2. Okay, like that. You study in redox reaction, but here I am giving some hints. Is it clear? Is it clear why we consider 0 over there? Because it is neutral atom. Because it is neutral atom. See. Okay, so now just find the value of x. What will be the value of x, student? Just reply. What will be the value of x in this case? Just reply. What will be the value of x in this case? Yes, it is minus 1. It is minus 1, isn't it? 2x and 2, 1. It will be go. Yes, minus 1. See, in this case, we got oxidation state of oxygen as a minus 1. As a minus 1. But we know common oxidation state of oxygen is minus 2, isn't it? So that's why remember, what will be the composition in this case? It will be Na2O2. It will be Na2O2. And this is nothing but your peroxide. This one is peroxide. Is it clear? Why we consider oxide, peroxide and superoxide? In all the cases, its oxidation state changes. Its oxidation state changes. Last one, listen, last one we'll consider superoxide. Metal, I'll consider metal, where metal is nothing but potassium or rubidium or cesium. So metal reacts with oxygen, it gives superoxide. What will be the composition of superoxide? See student, MO2 is nothing but composition of superoxide. Composition of superoxide. We'll consider one example. We'll consider one example in this case. See, I'll consider one example. I'll just remove this, okay? I think you understand. See, I'll consider example for this one. Potassium reacts with oxygen and it gives potassium oxide. Potassium oxide. And cesium reacts with oxygen, it gives cesium oxide. Cesium oxide, clear? So metal, that may be potassium, rubidium or cesium. Student, can you tell me, in this case, what will be the oxidation state of oxygen? So these are superoxides. These are superoxide. What will be the oxidation state of oxygen in this case? You can calculate, isn't it? It is KO2. You can calculate. How will you calculate? But for potassium, first group element, it is plus 1. We already know first group element oxidation number is plus 1. So plus 1 into, 2 into x, we don't know, equals to 0. Again, it is neutral. What will be the value, student? Very important. How will find minus 1? How? How it is minus 1, Rakshit? See the formula. KO2 it is. KO2 it is. See, for x value it is minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2. Is it? Is it minus 1 by 2? Rakshit, minus 1 by 2. Is it right? Is it right? See, yes. In case of superoxide, it is actually minus 2. But see, I'll consider this was in this film. See, O minus half, oxygen minus half. There were 2 oxygen with a minus half charge. It will give 2 molecules of O2. What will be the charge over oxygen in this case? See, minus half. Both will add. It will be minus 1. It will be minus 1. So Rakshit, your answer is for this one, I think. For O2, it is minus 1. For oxygen, it is minus half. This is only for superoxide case, okay? So in this case, it will be in the form of O2 minus. Is it clear? Is it clear why we consider O2 minus? Because it is O half and O half. If we add both things, it will be O2 minus. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? So now just tell me, in this case, what will be the total number of electron? Total number of electron. Can you answer? In case of O2 minus, how many electrons were there? In case of O2 minus, how many electrons were present? Simple question, student, try to answer. In oxygen, there were 8 electrons. Single oxygen, there were 8 electrons, isn't it? For one oxygen, 8 electron. And second oxygen, there will be 8 electron. And there is one minus charge. There is one minus charge. Total number of electron is 17. Yes. Minus charge means one electron is gained. Namita, how 10? Okay, okay. 8 plus 8, 16. 16 plus 1, that is nothing but 17 electron. It is odd electron system, isn't it? So 17 electron. See, in this case, total number of electron is 17 electron. It is odd electron system. In that case, it is paramagnetic or diamagnetic. Student, just reply. Very, very interesting it is. You must know all these things. You are just tell me. It is paramagnetic or diamagnetic? Para or diamagnetic? See, odd electron system where there, para or dia. So paramagnetic, there must be one unpaired electron, isn't it? There must be one unpaired electron. That is nothing but your paramagnetism. See, in this case, there is odd electron. So that means all 16 will paired and one electron is odd. So that's why it is paramagnetic. It is paramagnetic. So now the question, superoxides of metal is paramagnetic reason because it has one unpaired electron. Is it clear? So remember, all the superoxides were paramagnetic. All superoxides are paramagnetic. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? Is it clear? Okay. See, remember one thing, lithium can form only oxide and traces amount. In a traces amount, it also can form peroxide. Clear? Second one, sodium and potassium can form oxide and peroxide. So sodium can form oxide and peroxide, and there will be traces amount of superoxide. And these can form all three, oxide, superoxide, and peroxide. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? And just write down in that case, in your notes, write down all these things with another important thing. Just make it underline, take this one. Because of their high reactivity towards oxygen and or air and hydrogen oxide, that is nothing but air and water. Alkali metals are kept in dash oil. Normally kept in dash oil. Which oil, student? Yes, kerosene. It is kept in kerosene oil. It is kept in, yes, kerosene oil. Just write down, this is very important. That question may be asked for 1 mark. Due to its high reactivity towards oxygen and water, or else air and water. So those are kept under or normally kept in kerosene oil. Next one, second one, student, second important one, see second one. Reactivity towards water. See, student, redox reaction is not yet completed, isn't it? That means redox reaction is pending. So that's why I'll just explain the things about redox reaction, because in this case, we have to learn about one thing, that is nothing but E naught. E naught is nothing but standard electrode potential. So this is very important. We must know about this. So here, I don't want to explain whole thing, but just give a clear idea about this one. If the value of E naught is more negative, if the value of E naught is more negative, in that case, it is strong reducing agent. It is strong reducing agent. Just remember this point. If the E naught value is more negative, in that case, it is strong reducing agent. If E naught value is less negative, if E naught value is less negative, it is weak reducing agent. It is weak reducing agent. Is it clear? So now I'll explain about reducing agent. Okay. We want to know about this one. Clear? So this one. So that's why I'm explaining about this, about redox reaction. Okay. Yeah, I'll just explain you once, then you can tell the answer. Okay. Okay. See, these all things were in redox reaction. So what do you mean by redox reaction, student? A reaction which undergo both oxidation and reduction is known as redox reaction. See, RED is for reduction, OX for oxidation. If both the reaction is carried in a same reaction, in that case it is known as a redox reaction. See, I'll consider one example for redox reaction. Sodium reacts with chlorine. It gives NaCl, two molecules of NaC. So this was redox reaction. This was redox reaction. See, here I'll consider two systems. See, so this can split. See, sodium ion can form by elimination of one electron. Isn't it, student? So that is first reaction. This one is first reaction. And this one is second reaction. Chlorine will gain one electron and it forms Cl minus. See, initially we know about oxidation, isn't it? Addition of oxygen is oxidation, removal of oxidation is reduction, or else addition of hydrogen is reduction and elimination of hydrogen is oxidation. That we already studied, isn't it? I'll just write in this way. See, addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen. See, I'll just write in this way, okay, for convenience. And in this case, reduction, addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen. Is it clear? So this you already know. But, so now things will be different. So you have to explain oxidation and reduction in terms of electron theory, electron transfer theory, and in terms of oxidation theory. Clear? Are you hearing it? Yes? It's clear? So now just listen. I'll consider two examples. One is sodium and other one is Cl. See, student, in this case, what will happen? In this case, what will happen? So loss of electron, isn't it? So this one is your oxidation process. This one is oxidation and this one is reduction. This one is reduction. So now just tell me, what is oxidation in terms of this? Addition of electron is, yes. Loss of electron is oxidation, isn't it? First one is loss of electron is oxidation. See, electrons were lost by sodium ion, so that's why loss of electron will give oxidation. What about reduction, student? Gain of electron is a reduction. You have to remember these points, okay? Reduction is gain of electron, oxidation is loss of electron. So this is in terms of electron transfer theory. So now I already told you how to state that in terms of oxidation number. What is oxidation number of sodium in this case, student? What is oxidation number of sodium? I already told you. What is oxidation number of sodium? See, whenever we consider elementary state of any element, its oxidation state always zero. Its oxidation state is always zero. So that's why in this case, oxidation state of sodium is zero. Oxidation state of sodium is zero. What about in this case, student? What about in this case, Na plus? What is the oxidation state of Na plus? What is the oxidation state of Na plus? Yes, it is +1 charge over that ion. It is +1. Clear? So now I'll consider +1. Yeah, okay. Now I'll consider this one, Cl. For convenient, I'll write it in the form of Cl2, 2 electron. It gives 2 Cl minus. So now tell me, what about oxidation state of Cl2? Because it is elementary state of chlorine. Elementary state of chlorine. Cl2. That means chlorine is obtained as Cl2 itself. Yes, it is 0. It is 0. What about here? Cl minus. What about Cl minus? What is oxidation state of Cl minus? What is the oxidation state of Cl minus? Because it is charge ion, isn't it? So that's why it is -1. Charge over that ion. Charge over that ion. So now tell me, from here to here, it is increase in oxidation number or decrease in oxidation number? From 0 to +1, it is increase in oxidation number or decrease in oxidation number? It is increase in oxidation number, isn't it? See, from 0 to 1, and from 0 to -1, it is decrease in oxidation number. From 0 to -1, it is decrease in oxidation number. So that's why second statement for oxidation is, in oxidation, there will be increase in oxidation number. Oxidation number. And in case of reduction, there will be decrease in oxidation number. There will be decrease in oxidation number. Is it clear? Is it clear? So see, we know three statement. Totally, we know three statement. With respect to oxygen and hydrogen, one thing. Second one, with respect to electron transfer. Third one, with respect to oxidation number. See, oxidation is a process where loss of electron takes place, or oxidation is a process where increase in oxidation number will take place. Or else, reduction is a process where gain of electron will take place, or reduction is a process where decrease in oxidation number. See, whenever we consider oxidation and reduction, these are process. These are process or phenomena. Clear? So now I'll introduce two different words. I'll introduce two different words. See, student, I'll introduce two different words. One is reducing agent. One is reducing agent. Another one is oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent. So these are new words, okay? Oxidizing agent. See, student, see, I already told oxidation is a process. Reduction is also process. And remember, a species which undergo oxidation, element which undergo oxidation, or which ion which undergo oxidation is known as reducing agent. It's known as reducing agent. See, so now what will be the definition or statement for reducing agent? A species in which loss of electron takes place is known as reducing agent. Or a species in which oxidation number increases is known as reducing agent. Or a species which undergo oxidation process is known as reducing agent. Is this clear? Is it clear? And a species which undergo reduction reaction is known as oxidizing agent. Is it clear, student? Is it clear now? See, in case of reduction, it is oxidizing agent. In case of oxidation, it is reduction. So don't confuse. Some of you may confuse that oxidation and oxidizing agent will be at the same portion. No, no. Is it clear now? Is it clear now? Student, is it clear? So this is very important part. You must know, okay? You must know about this point. Is it clear? See, again, I'll explain. For this reactivity towards water, we must know about this one, okay? Standard electrode potential, where if the standard electron is more, that is more negative, very important, more negative and less negative. If it is more negative, it is strong reducing agent. If it is less negative, it is weak reducing agent. For reducing agent, I explained about redox reaction. So redox reaction is nothing but a reaction in which oxidation and reduction takes place. What is oxidation? Oxidation is nothing but loss of electron, a process in which electrons were lost, or a process in which oxidation number increases. And the species which undergo oxidation is known as reducing agent. Is it clear? And a reduction is a process in which electrons were gained, and the reduction is a process in which there is decrease in oxidation number, and the oxidizing agent is one which undergo reduction process. Is it clear? So now I'll consider one or two examples for your convenience. See, I'll consider simple example. Fe2 plus converts into Fe3 plus. Fe2 plus converts into Fe3 plus with the elimination of one electron. Now tell me, this process is oxidation or reduction? This process is oxidation is reduction. See, this process is oxidation or reduction. Just see that and tell me. This process is oxidation or reduction because see, 2 plus to 3 plus, increase in oxidation number. Yes, process is oxidation. Process is oxidation. What about Fe2 plus, student? What about Fe2 plus? This species, what is Fe2 plus element or ion? Oxidizing agent or reducing agent it is? Oxidizing agent or reducing agent? Because it undergo oxidation process. Yes, it is reducing agent. Yes, it is reducing agent. Is this clear now? Is this clear? See, I'll consider another example. Sodium reacts with water. It gives sodium hydroxide. Sodium reacts with water. It gives sodium hydroxide. Isn't it? So now just tell me, what is the oxidation state of sodium in this case? What is the oxidation state of sodium in this case? You have to reply fast, friend. What is the oxidation state of sodium? I'll write here it is 0 because elementary state. Isn't it? What is the oxidation state of sodium in this case? First. Sodium in this case, it is in a combined state. It is in a combined state. Its oxidation state will be, yeah, all first group element in a combined state have +1 oxidation state. Its oxidation state is +1. So now tell me, so from 0 to 1, it is increase or decrease? Which type of process it is? Which type of process, oxidation or reduction? And what is the about element? Na is known as, see, for processes, the processes, see, increase in 0 to +1, processes oxidation, processes oxidation. What about ion? What about this sodium? What about this sodium? It is, yes, very good. It is a reducing agent. Reducing agent. Is it clear now? I think it is clear. I think it will clear. It is clear? Is it clear? Okay, so now I start this reactivity towards hydrogen. Actual thing is this one. So this was from redox reaction, okay? See, student, see, I already told, if the E naught value is more negative, it has a high reducing tendency. That means it acts as a strong reducing agent. If E naught value is less negative, it has less negative. Why we used less negative or more negative? So that will come to know. Okay, so this is reducing agent for decreases. So now listen, each and every alkali metal reacts with water. See, each and every alkali metal reacts with water and it will produce metal hydroxide that we already studied, isn't it? Metal hydroxide with elimination of water. Sorry, hydrogen. Elimination of hydrogen. So this is nothing but metal hydroxide. Metal hydroxide. For convenient, I take one example. So lithium reacts with 2 molecules of H2O. See, student, it will give 2 molecules of lithium hydroxide plus H2. One thing. Second one, sodium. I'll consider sodium. 2 molecules of sodium reacts with 2 molecules of H2O. It gives 2 molecules of sodium hydroxide plus H2. Okay. Is it okay? So now listen. If in case I consider this, I'll consider this one. So both reacts with water and forms hydroxide, isn't it? But the thing here is lithium E naught value is more negative. Lithium E naught value is more negative in alkali metal, and sodium has a least E naught value, least negative alkali metal. So lithium is more negative and sodium is least negative. Now tell me, the tendency of an lithium to react with water is more or less? See here, lithium, it's zero oxidation state, it is +1 oxidation. Both are oxidation, both are reducing agent. In this case, lithium also reducing agent and sodium is also reducing agent. See, in this case, lithium has a more negative value and sodium has a more least negative value. It has a least negative value. For convenient, I'll give values. Okay, 1 minute. Just tell me, what will happen in this case? See, one is more negative, one is least negative. In that case, which one must act? Yes, lithium must act as a strong reducing agent. That means it readily reacts with water and must form lithium oxide, isn't it? That is right answer. That is right answer. Lithium is a strong reducing agent. Lithium is a strong reducing agent and sodium is a weak reducing agent. Both are reducing agent, but reducing property will decreases, isn't it? Yes, that's right. But the thing here is this lithium is less reactive than sodium. Lithium is less reactive than sodium with water. Very important, only with water, okay? But that is right. So lithium is a strong reducing agent, sodium is a weak electrolyte. But the thing here is, lithium is less reactive towards water when we compare it with sodium. Clear? Less reactive. Lithium is less reactive than sodium. Reason for less reactivity towards water for lithium. Okay, for lithium it is. For lithium, one thing is it has a small size. Due to the small size, we studied one important property, isn't it? That is nothing but hydration enthalpy. Do you remember one thing? Hydration enthalpy. If smaller size, there will be high hydration enthalpy, isn't it? So that's why it has a high hydration enthalpy. So that means water can easily involve in the bonding with lithium ion, isn't it? So that's why it will never react vigorously with water. Clear? Question may be asked. Yeah. Lithium has a most negative E0 value, but its reaction with water is less reactive than sodium. Give reason. The question may be asked like this. Even though lithium has a more negative E0 value, in that case also lithium is less reactive towards water than sodium. For that reason is it has a small size and high hydration enthalpy. So that means lithium chloride can easily form hydrated salt, isn't it? Lithium chloride can form easily with hydrated salt, isn't it? So actually it must form a bond with this two and it must produce a lithium hydroxide, but it will never form lithium oxide in that way. Okay. So reason for this is small size of lithium and high hydration enthalpy of lithium. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So these are important one. See, we studied about E0 value. If the question was asked, let's see, for X, here I'll again consider one system, see student, so that maybe ask for your exam. If one element X with minus 3.16 E0 value, so this one is E0 value, and Y with minus 2.7 E0 value. So now in these two, which one is strong reducing agent? In these two, which one is strong reducing agent? Any guesses? Which one is strong reducing agent? One is minus 3.16, another one is 2. X is strong reducing agent. Why, student? Why it is strong reducing agent? Because it is more negative. Is it clear now how you can answer this one? Clear? Is it clear? So this will help you, okay? This will help you. And in this case, if a question was asked, why lithium is less reactive? Why? The question may be asked for 1 mark. Why lithium is less reactive towards water? Less reactive towards water than sodium. Sodium, even though it has more negative, it has more negative what, more negative E naught value. So this question may be asked. For this, answer is these two. Due to small size of lithium and high hydration enthalpy, lithium is less reactive towards water. Is this clear? See, S block, hydrogen, and P block were small chapters, and the question may be asked from any way. Okay, so that's why you have to remember all these small points so that you can answer easily. Is it clear, student? So these are very important. First, fix your mind with the redox reaction. After that, E naught value, so that you can easily find these values. Is it clear? About other reaction, we'll study in our next class. Okay, in maybe from 2 o'clock, sir will engage, physics sir will engage. Okay, so study well. 21st there will be exam, isn't it? So study well, prepare well, and do your exam with a high post. Okay, we'll end this session. Take care. Bye.